Hey, this is Brittany with marvelandmake.com. Today we're going to be talking about water glassing eggs. This is one of the methods that you can do to preserve eggs so that you can use them during the wintertime when your chickens are not laying. First thing is that with water glassing, you cannot water glass store-bought eggs or washed eggs. So you can't, if you can source eggs that are unwashed, there's a place close to us that sells them. It's a produce stand. They sell them unwashed. We have chickens, so we have an abundance of eggs right now. Currently, it is springtime. We're just overflowing with eggs. So this is a really great way for you to preserve eggs and, like I said, have them when eggs are not so abundant. So last year, a year ago this month, I put up these 2 containers of eggs. So I have them water glassed in a mason jar and then also in a crock. And I'm almost finished with the crock eggs. I did a few mason jars and this is my last one. So I'm going to show you the difference. If there is one there, I've kind of noticed a little bit of a difference. So first, these were put up a year ago and left in my pantry. I put them because they're in glass and exposed to the light. I put them in the back corner so they were in a little bit of a darker place. When you pull these out, you want to give them a quick rinse so that none of the pickling lime is on the shell when you use them. But I'm just going to really quick show you what it looks like. So crack this open here. And that is just fine. Always smell it just to make sure. I have put up, like I said, I put up a couple of jars of these and this whole crock of eggs, and I haven't had any of them be bad. There was one in here that was cracked, and so I knew as soon as I picked it up it felt different, and I just didn't even crack it open. I just tossed it. But yeah, this looks great. Still a really nice looking yolk. The thing that I have noticed with pretty much all of these eggs, whether I did them in the glass jar or in the crock, is that the yolk doesn't stay intact. So it's not like a good firm ball like it normally would be. It separates, or it just kind of like blends in with the white. So I use these for baking instead of like frying them, boiling them, or scrambling them up or something like that. So I would just suggest to use them, in dishes where you're going to be baking, cooking them, versus like making custard. I have a great vanilla custard recipe I can link, but I use really fresh eggs for that, not water glass ones. And I also wouldn't use these. I've got a chicken Caesar salad, a Caesar dressing recipe. I wouldn't use these for that. I would use fresh. So that's that. And then I'm going to show you the crock one, see if there's anything different. So here is, you can see like some of the pickling lime on the egg. No big deal. I'm just going to wipe it off. And different little bowl. Crack that one open. Smells great, and it's a little bit more intact. I did notice like a slight difference with the ones that are in the crock. Some of the yolks, but I would say like, I don't know, maybe just 10% of the ones that I've used, the yolk will look like it's a little bit more firm or like, holding together versus the ones that are in the glass jar. And I just attribute that to these are exposed to light versus this, which is not. And this big crock I just kept under my sink in the kitchen, and so it was just easy access. I could grab an egg and use it in a recipe. So this is just what they look like. Again, I would always smell test them, use your nose, and use them in things that you're going to bake. So let me show you how I did this. So the thing that you're wanting to look for in the store is probably you're going to find it in the canning section. It's called pickling lime. And I also bought some off of Azure. So this is Azure Market brand, Azure Standard. I can link them below. It is calcium hydroxide. You can also, I've heard it called Cal Lime. So these are the same things, and your ratio is you want to do 1 ounce of your pickling lime to 1 quart of water. So what you will do is take your container and your unwashed eggs that are fresh. Again, we have chickens, and so this is pretty easy because I am just overflowing with eggs right now. So it's the perfect time to put them up. And so you just place them in your container pretty carefully. Obviously, if you crack one, then you would need to pull that guy out because he's not going to last. So just stick them in your container. You don't want any of the ones that are real dirty. So I've already separated out some of the eggs that had, you know, a little bit of like mud or, you know, maybe something from the chickens kind of left on them. So these are all of my clean eggs, but again, they are unwashed, and that's important. You cannot do this with washed eggs. So putting them all in this jar. I think I was able to fit 14. I think there's 14 eggs in here. And this is a half-gallon mason jar, so it gives you kind of a good idea. I would strongly recommend using something like this. This crock, I probably have another dozen in the bottom of here, and this has lasted me all year. Again, I've used it just for baking, but it was a really simple way to put these eggs away and you know, have them fresh from our chickens and not have to buy any. Gosh, that's the worst feeling when you buy eggs and you have your own chickens. All right, so now I have my scale and I have my 1 quart of water. And so I set the quart of water on my scale, and now I've zeroed my scale out. So whatever I add is just going to be the weight of this pickling lime. And I'm looking for 1 ounce. Try to do this without spilling it. All right, about halfway there. All right, we're at 1 ounce. 1 ounce of pickling lime. Give this a little stir. You will notice that it separates. I don't know if you can see that. So it's kind of separated into the bottom of the jar. Totally fine. Still in there. So don't let that alarm you. You just want to stir this up. And then we are going to add it. I'm probably going to make a mess here. I usually do this over the sink. Add it to our eggs. There we go. Perfect. Let that settle. Make sure this top egg is covered all the way. There we go. That is that simple. So this is what it looks like. I'm going to put this guy in the bottom of my pantry, kind of in the back, again, kind of in the dark as best I can. I'm going to put a new date on this lid. So I'm going to use these. These are going to be used up, and then I'm going to put a lid on this one and put it into the pantry. I'm also going to finish using these and do the same, you know, clean this crock and do the same thing again for next year. So again, really, really simple way to store eggs and use them fresh when your chickens aren't laying. So I will link the exact ingredients, the measurements below. You can keep, so for something like this, you can just keep adding water as you add more eggs. So I started with just a totally dry crock, put my eggs in the bottom, poured my ratio to cover them, and then as I added eggs over the next few months, I would just add more of the solution and just make sure that the eggs are all the way covered. So that worked great. I would strongly recommend using a crock, but if you don't have that, these work just fine. Just try to keep them in the dark if you can. So this is Brittany with marvelandmake.com. I will link the various recipes that I mentioned below. Please keep following me for more nutrient-dense recipes and tips and tricks. And if you like this video, give it a thumbs up and please subscribe. Thanks.